Good evening. Welcome to another stream. Of course, it is Friday night. That can only mean one thing. It's time for the weekend, and it is time for another live stream. What's up, Matt? Iceberg right ahead. Yep, it most certainly was. How was your weekend there? Or your not your weekend, your week? We're getting into the weekend now. Woo-hoo. So, a little thing to know about tonight's stream. I did have a kind of a movie discussion planned for tonight. Unfortunately, those plans fell through at the last minute, so I'm just kind of having to improvise here. So, we're just going to kind of do an open mic thing tonight. We're just going to find random topics and discuss them. Obviously, some of the usual suspects will more than likely come up. Titanic and ships and whatnot. We were going to discuss the movie Pearl Harbor. I was going to have somebody come on and do that with me. Unfortunately, again, they were not able to make it. So this is what we'll be doing for the evening. So let's just get right into things. Have something for us to watch while we talk about random things. And Harlan and Wolf office, you can pretty much guess what this is. We're riding on a little train here. Of course, we'll have the big reveal. You can recognize that giant structure to the left. Week was good. Brought your uncle to the casino today. We both lost. Oh yeah. If I'm getting too nosy here, just say that you'd rather not say. But how bad did you lose? This is why I'm not a big casino person. By the way, I go to them every now and then, but typically speaking, it's not really my thing. Ah, look at that big beauty right there to the right outside the window. I do remember you saying you were going to the casino today. And let's step off the train here. Have a little look around. And there you go, folks. Titanic, Honor and Glory, of course. This is an earlier demo. It's the only demo that I can think of where you can actually see the exterior of the ship. And it's been a while since I looked at it. And again, this video was planned for what I was originally going to do on stream tonight. But I mean, we can still look at this. You lost $100 of your mom's money, didn't lose your own. Well, I'm sure your mom doesn't appreciate that all that much. I imagine this is going to be in their final game. I certainly hope so. Instead of just only being able to walk on the ship itself. In case you missed it, this week's video is the Veterans Memorial Bridge. As you know, for those who follow the channel, we have a new weekly video every Friday. It comes out at 7 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Your mom came with you and she won 500. Oh, well, then that makes up for it, I guess. I mean, she lost 100 but won 500, so she comes out 400 in the head ahead. So I guess you can't really argue with that now, can you? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, casinos were just, I don't know. I'm not a gambler. Never really was. It was just never my thing. That's not to say I don't ever do it, but it's just extremely rare when I do that. And I guess you're working all weekend, this coming weekend. Am I correct on that? I'm going to turn around a bit so you guys don't have to see me yawn on camera. Don't know why I'm yawning. I'm not tired. Not yet, anyway. So you're off today, work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Oh yeah, your weekend is shot. That's a bummer. I am very fortunate in that I have weekends off. I do not have to work them, thank goodness. That wasn't always the case, but it is for a while now. I was supposed to meet with my modeling group last Saturday, and one of them has this really nice copy of the Titanic that he does not intend to build because he said it's not his thing. And I'm going to hopefully convince him to sell me that so I can build it because it's honestly better than the one that I've got right there. I mean, at least in terms of accuracy, detail, all that good stuff. Also, while I'm thinking about the bridge video this morning that came out, one of my subscribers gave me a couple of super thanks, and I just wanted to say to Viola, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And if you are looking for a channel for like a cooking channel, visit Viola's Baked Goods and Delights. I promise you, you will find a crap ton of good recipes on there to try. She recently did a video where she made her own spaghetti sauce, and it looked absolutely amazing. It's like I just want to reach through the screen and grab that and munch on it. But she sent me a couple of super thanks for the video. She really enjoys those videos. So, Viola, if you're watching, thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. It means a lot to me to have your support. And I'm happy to be a subscriber to your channel. And like I said, I've tried out some of your recipes, and they are fantastic. I'm going to make that goulash again. Uh, she has a great goulash recipe that's very simple to make, not a ton of ingredients, and man, it hits the spot. Lots of good home cooked meals. Making me hungry just thinking about it, and I ate before I started the stream. Let's see, I was actually trying to take class and cut my hours at the store, but I failed to realize that classes actually start Monday. So I'll have to wait till spring semester. Yeah, if you're thinking about going to college, even if it's you're waiting till spring, now's a good time maybe to start looking into it. Maybe at least apply, do whatever testing they need you to do to see where you would be placed. Then I got to yawn again. But while we're looking at Titanic, I also have this idea. Been kicking around an idea for a video. Matt, this might be up your alley as well. So there was a priest on the Titanic. His name was Father Brown, and I won't go too much into the details because I'm thinking about doing a video that focuses directly on him and his experiences on the Titanic. He took a lot of pictures while he was on board the Titanic. He was passionate about photography, an avid fan of it. Um, Hello, photographer. Um, Matt here on the channel is also a photographer. We're both very passionate about photography. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a video where I can talk about, someone who was passionate about photography like I am and was actually on the Titanic. Thinking about taking a business class, and they have a film photography class. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I wouldn't wait around. I would actually start looking into that pretty soon. I mean, it's been a while since I've been in college, but I don't know how much the procedure has changed since then. But yeah, like I said, that going back to Father Brown for a minute, his photos, the majority of his photos are the only photos in existence of being on the Titanic itself. And there were other people who took photos, but his are probably the most well known, and he probably had the most amount of photos. I don't know why I can't stop yawning. And by the way, if you right, let's see, probably not much change. You pay them, they attempt to teach you, and you attempt to learn. Well, I'm sure that aspect of it hasn't changed, especially the you pay them part. But no, I think that's great. If that's something you want to try, I mean, go for it. See if they're in need of someone to teach a Titanic history class while you're there. We watched an amazing documentary on Discovery Plus about a film crew in the Vietnam War. Oh yeah. By the way, in this demo, you can board the ship, but I don't think you're going to see that uh, in what we're looking at right now. And again, this is on Titanic Honor and Glory's website. It's titanichg.com. I forget exactly what demo version this is, but it is available on their website for free. All their demos are free. I think this is going to stop here, and we're going to transition into some World of Warships footage here in just a second. Maybe I can talk about the movie for a little bit. Matt, have you seen the movie Pearl Harbor? And there we go, Arizona. You can see this. That's why I've got this week's ships set up the way I have them. Of course, we were going to come talk about the Titanic movie as well. That's why Titanic's up there. And of course, we have the two ships here. As you can, it's always I've always noticed this connection between these two ships to me is each ship, Arizona and Missouri, were symbolic they were symbolic beginnings and ends of World War II for the United States. You know, you got Pearl Harbor, start of the war, and the Japanese signed the documents of the surrender on the decks of the USS Missouri. Yeah, so we're going to kind of compare and contrast Titanic and the movie and Pearl Harbor, the movie. See, and I know we kind of discussed Titanic already in a previous stream, but I wanted to compare it again and see what both movies got right, what they got wrong. Pearl Harbor was it's a complicated movie because well, I mean I'm not complicated in sense of the story, complicated in the fact that they got a lot of things historically inaccurate. Oh yeah, so this historian was looking to document the war zone, and he was sent an audio tape by someone. Upon listening to tape, he realized there had to be video to go with it. I suppose. Yeah, here we are looking at the Arizona. The man spent weeks digging through national archives and finally found the tape that matched his audio, and he saved a piece of history. Well, that's pretty good. And that's one of the reasons why I was thinking about doing this video on Father Brown because without his footage, we would have next to no footage or imagery of any kind actually on board the Titanic. There would be, 10, maybe 20 photos, if that many, were it not for his footage. What about this? Was there any historical event that you in particular enjoyed reading and learning about in school? For me, it was all of it. And by the way, if you go to the Titanic museums in either Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, or Branson, Missouri, they have rooms dedicated to Father Brown's photo collection that is from the Titanic. That's a good question. Yeah, think on that one. Because even for people who are not really history buffs, I find there is at least one thing in history that they find fascinating. I mean, for me, obviously the ships, Titanic's history, the White Star Line, the Cunard Line, and actually I learned something about the Father Brown photos that I was not aware of. I was, and this is recent, I was under the impression that there's only one photo in existence of Captain Smith on the Titanic, and it was taken by Father Brown, and I was incorrect on that. Turns out there was more than one photo. Ooh, I'm sorry I keep yawning. I don't know why I'm doing this. I am not tired. Did they teach you about Titanic sinking in school? I don't remember ever learning about the Titanic in school. For me, my memory, and I've got this very faint memory. I wasn't even 10 years old when they found the wreck in 1985. And I may have told this story on stream before. As I best I can remember it, I never knew what the Titanic was until the wreck was discovered. And I remember in the car with my parents, and I don't remember where we were going, but it was on the news, and they were talking about it. And I remember asking them, "What's the Titanic?" And they gave me the short version. Biggest ship in the world, hits an iceberg, sinks, lots of casualties, and that was pretty much it. And after that, I remember we had this big collection of encyclopedias in the living room, and I had never touched them, wasn't interested in them at all. And at some point after hearing about what the Titanic was, it was the first time I ever went and grabbed one of those books and opened it up and started looking for something about the Titanic. And there was a write up on it. It wasn't a very huge write up, but there was a write up about the ship in there. And the obsession, maybe might be an appropriate term, just grew and grew and grew over the years. Then in 1996, the game Titanic Adventure Out of Time came out, which of course I had to have, and it was one of the very first PC games I ever got, and it was on one of the very first computers we ever got. It was running Windows 95. Replayed that game more times than I could remember. And then, of course, the Cameron's movie came out in December of 97, and I was actually working in the movie theaters at the time when that movie came out. And I can remember for 6 months after that movie was out, it was still selling out almost every single show. I mean, it can't be understated how much of a cultural event that movie really was. And of course, that just fueled the Titanic passion even more. I think the following year was when I wanted to discover other Titanic movies, and that's when I found A Night to Remember sitting in Blockbuster one evening. And that's how I discovered that movie. So that right there is the long-winded story of how I came to learn about Titanic. All that to say, no, I didn't learn about Titanic in school. We did learn about one ship in school. One I've mentioned quite a bit on this channel. And do you want to know? Do you want to take a guess on which one it is, or do you want me to just tell you which one it is? And it is an ocean liner. No, it's not the Queen Mary. Although the Queen Mary was a troop ship in World War II. And the Queen Mary is in the Pearl Harbor movie, by the way. And it looks like they used the actual ship because, of course, the Queen Mary does still exist. and they didn't CGI it. However, fun fact, they got the look of the ship wrong, even though they possibly used the real ship. You see, after World War II began, the Queen Mary was requisitioned to be a troop ship throughout the war, and she was painted entirely gray. The only thing on the ship that was not gray was her decks. And because she was so fast and because of her color, she earned the nickname the Gray Ghost. And that is the color that she would have been at the time the Pearl Harbor movie takes place. And they have her instead in her real canard colors, the white superstructure, the black and red hull with the thin white stripe. As far as historical events that fascinated me, I would say progress, progress in space, from launching Sputnik to the landing on the moon. Those are most definitely important parts in history. I wish I could elaborate more on them, but I don't know as much about those as I do about, the wars. But are they important parts in history? Absolutely. The best thing I can say about those, I mean, that was, of course, during the Cold War between us and the Soviet Union, and it was the space race, and they got a satellite in space before us, but we got on the moon before them. So the ship that I did learn about in school was the Lusitania. And by the way, finished my book, Dead Wake, the last crossing of the Lusitania. Yeah, I was big into model rocketry and kind of getting back into it. Yeah, that was definitely your thing. A side note, I might finally have another Impala model for you. We'll discuss that later. But yeah, the Lusitania was the ship that I learned about in school because it was one of the precursors to the United States going into World War One. So right before we started learning about World War One, of course, the topic of the Lusitania came up. But one thing, as I recall, and apparently I wasn't the only one, because I even read that in the book Dead Wake, that most people, well, maybe not most, but a good number of people believe that the reason the United States entered World War One was because of the sinking of the Lusitania. It was a reason, but it was not the reason. The Lusitania was sunk on May 7th, 1915. United States didn't enter World War One until 2 years after that. And I think that the final determining reason why we entered the war was because Germany at this time basically put out an edict to the world, say if you go into British waters, we don't care if you're a British ship or not, if you're a neutral country or not, we see your ship, we don't care what country you are, we're going to torpedo your ships. And there was no discrimination about it at all. And at this point, the Germans had already sank several American ships that I believe they knew were American ships. Of course, they were sinking other ships that like the Lusitania, where they knew had American passengers on it. They did not discriminate. So by the time they did this edict, and it may not be the right word, it's the only word that comes to mind, but they basically said, like I said, we're sinking these ships. We don't care what country you are. We see you in these waters. We're sinking your ships. And that was really the ultimate catalyst for the United States saying, too bad. We're going to war. We're done trying to negotiate with you or be neutral. But yeah, I always found it fascinating after the fact that we learned about Lusitania in school, but we never learned about Titanic in school. See, after the war, most of the German scientists were recruited over to us. Werner von Braun, who created the V 2 rocket for Hitler, was working for NASA, helped create the Saturn V rocket. Well, that's interesting. I did not know that. Oh, we destroyed a ship there. Nice. I think that's one thing I got wrong on my model. Looking at that close up, if you look at the aft turret, that's got the plane launcher on it. I actually painted the top of the turret red, whereas in the game it doesn't look like it was painted red. I'm going to assume that World of Warships did their due diligence and they've got theirs a little more historically accurate than mine. And as you saw, my decks weren't exactly the right color either. But I'm not about to go back and change them. I am working on two other models, by the way, and there will be videos um, on the channel for those that you will see eventually. Your girl is selling a Kia. Hmm. I don't think I know anyone that is in need of a car right now, but if I hear of anyone looking, I'm going to do them a favor and recommend Toyota. Anyway, I've also been thinking about doing something. Matt, this might be something you'd be interested in as well. I found out recently that even though the USS Texas is not open for tourism officially, you can actually go and do a tour of the ship while it's in dry dock getting repairs. Now, of course, it's a bit pricey. It's $150, but I am strongly considering doing that. So that would be at least two visits to the ship. And she got a $2,000 quote to repair her AC, and she was like, "No." Well, in that situation, that's kind of to me it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. I mean, yeah, 2 grand's a lot of money to fix your AC, but at the same time, how much more money are you going to spend on a whole new car? It's probably going to be more than $2,000. No, hell yeah, let's go. No, I'm definitely down for it. It's in Galveston, so it'd probably be like a 4 day trip, something like that. So you're looking at hotels, you're looking at food, you're looking at gas, and plus the ticket. Oh, one of our ships just got sunk there. Plus the $150 ticket to do the actual tour, which um, I think it's worth it. Well, of course I'm a ship nerd. Of course I think it's worth it. Um, but yeah, if that's something you're interested in doing, we can discuss that some more. See if I'm going to dodge these torps or not. Yes, we did not get torped. And one of the things that's so significant about the USS Texas, it's not the same class as the Arizona. Arizona was a Pennsylvania class. I forget exactly what class the Texas is. I think it was the class before the Pennsylvanias. So for the most part, it looks a bit similar to the Arizona. So I showed her a Toyota Camry. She's considering it, but she wants a Kia K5. Also, it has worse specs than the Camry, except for the turbo four-cylinder, but it's more expensive. I shouldn't be telling you anything you don't already know. Kia's trash, especially compared to a Toyota. But I mean, of course, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their money. It's their money. You buy what you want. But as I always say, you get what you pay for. That guy's about to get torped. All right, he took some massive damage. And here we see the Arizona in dry dock. I will say this about the Pearl Harbor movie. Just looking at the Arizona right here, the actual attack sequence is excellent. It's absolutely excellent. Back to history. Watched Back to the Future the other day. Yep, that's definitely movie history. I remember watching Back to the Future in 2015 in the movie theater for its 30th anniversary. And at the end of the movie, everyone clapped. Should tell you how good that movie was. But yeah, here we are looking at the ship in dry dock, and like I was going to say about the movie, one thing that the Pearl Harbor movie did great was the actual attack on Pearl Harbor. Now it did at one point it started to drag, and you could tell they went a bit long with it. They could have cut it out a good probably 15 minutes of it. It went for about 35 minutes. So once the actual attack gets gone underway, we're talking about after about 20 minutes or so, we get to this point where our two main guys, Ben Affleck and Josh Hartnett, they're playing fictional characters in the movie. The last 15 or 20 minutes of it or so is more about them ducking and dodging Japanese planes and trying to get to this airplane hangar that's a bit far away from Battleship Row. That way, they could launch some getting planes and do a counterattack. And when it reaches that point, that's where the movie starts to drag a bit. Other than that, the actual attack sequence, it's excellent. I'm also fascinated by the history of photography, but you already know that. Well, and going back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, that's why I'm talking. I'm thinking about doing this little, I guess, mini documentary is the best way to do it about Father Brown. His full name is Father Francis Brown, passenger on the Titanic, who took photographs. He was an amateur photographer, but he never ever passed up a chance to take a good photo. or even a bad photo, really, because there's a shot where he's actually got two images of his cabin on the Titanic. One is a bit blurry and out of focus, but the other one he nailed the focus. And again, if he would not have done that, we would have little to no images at all of actually being on the ship itself. So I think that'd be, I mean, what better way to combine everything that I love? You know, the ships, the history, photography, travel. I mean, all of that rolled up into one video. I'm thinking that, I don't know for sure yet, but I'm thinking that might be next week's video. Right. I'm going to step away for a second, grab a quick drink. I will be right back. Little camera icons. Yeah, and actually, in Honor and Glory, the big demo, the one that you normally see me using here on the stream, I forget exactly where it's at, but they actually have a replica of Father Brown's camera somewhere on the ship. I forget exactly where it's at. I may have to play the demo again and go look around for it. I might have to look up and see what type of camera it was that he had as well. I always dig those arches that are up on the superstructure of the Arizona, like right underneath the bridge. You got those giant arches. Oh yeah, you're gonna see it. I'd like to see if I could find an. I want to figure out, and I got to do the research into it. I've got to look and see exactly what type of camera it was that he used, and see if I can find even if not a picture of his actual camera, to find a picture of a camera just like it. And I'm sure I could probably find that. Yeah, see these arches right here? I just think that looks so cool. Yeah, looking at the front of this ship, I would definitely not want that thing staring me down. See the two white towers. Those were not original to the ship. I forget at what point the ship underwent some um, a refit, and those were added after the fact. According to Google, it's a Kodak Vest pocket camera. Okay, cool. So here we are looking at one of my absolute favorite ships. It's a ship I've actually been on. It is the USS Kidd. And I did a short last week about the Kidd. They're going to be towing the Kidd to, oh, and by the way, you see the little pirate on the forward funnel? That is actually on the ship. today in present day. But I think it's on both sides, not just one. But I did a short last week. They're going to be bringing the kid to dry dock in New Orleans, where they're going to be doing some repairs to it because the ship floats in the Mississippi in Baton Rouge. And if you know anything about these museum ships, some of them, and the USS Alabama is one of them, it looks like they're floating, but they're really not. They just have water around the ship, and the ship is actually sitting on a platform. Well, the kid does float, and it rises, of course, and falls as the water levels in the Mississippi go up and down. But the water levels have been so low for so long, the ship is starting to experience hull breaching. So they have to bring it into dry dock. They've got to repair those breaches, and I think they're going to do some other restoration at the same time. And they said that it could take up to a year for the kid to before the kid ends up back in Baton Rouge. And I think it's been in Baton Rouge since like 1982, and it's never moved from the spot where it's at. So it's actually going to be a pretty big deal. And another thing that's going to be bad in a way, at least for the local Baton Rouge economy, is the kid is the second most visited tourist attraction in Baton Rouge. Matt, did you watch that short that I did? And if not, can you guess what the number one tourist attraction in Baton Rouge is? Remember, the kid is number two. Do you know what number one is? Oh, your internet cut out. So I was saying that the kid is the second most visited tourist attraction in Baton Rouge. Do you know what number one is? If not, care to take a guess? And she is one. She is one tough little ship. You would be correct. Huh. LSU's Tiger Stadium is the number one attraction. And the kid is right behind it at number two. But yeah, talk about a tough little ship. She took a kamikaze attack during World War II. She was hit amidship on the starboard side. Unfortunately, there was loss of life in that attack, but the ship was able to sail under its own powers back to port and get the repairs it needed to have. There's actually a Fletcher class model kit that you can build, and of course that's what the kit is. It's a Fletcher class. What I'm going to do is uh, eventually I'm going to buy one of those models, and I am going to, excuse me, I'm going to mod it to be the kid. And by mod, all I really have to do, oh, you took a hit there. All I have to do is paint it the color scheme of the kid, which is not going to be hard. Um, get decals made. That's a kid, which also will not be hard, and the hull number, which is 661, and the little pirate right there. And really, that's all I need in order to make a kid. Introduced in 1912, the original Kodak Vest pocket camera represented breakthrough technology for its day. The pocket-sized folding camera looked almost exactly like a larger folding Kodak's. Matt, does it say specifically which the exact date that camera was produced? Because if it was made in 1912, It had to have been made before April of 1912 in order for that to be the camera that Father Brown used. That ship is wrecking those planes. Going after the carrier. I would love to have the kid in this game, but World of Warships DLC, their prices are completely ridiculous. You know, they want 40 and $50 for some ships, and I think the kid is $35. The footage you're seeing on screen right now is actually by my buddy Matt, not me. He has the kid in game. I believe it was gifted to him, and he was good enough to record some footage of the kid for me for us to watch on stream. What I really need is a game where I can sail the Titanic and the Olympic and all the other ocean liners that I want. You know, I've already got, the warships game. I can sail all the Navy vessels that I want to sail. But I need something where I can sail ocean liners too. Well, I'm looking at this aircraft carrier. That's another thing that, if I understood correctly, they got wrong in the Pearl Harbor movie was that uh, a lot of the ships, or not a lot, but some of the ships they used them. It was ships that were not made until after the events of Pearl Harbor, but they used these ships anyway in the movie. So that was just another one of the inaccuracies that they did. There's a sailing simulator game on Steam. There was one that I bought. It was like $8 or $9, and it had a lot of the old liners in it, but you couldn't sail the ships. It was just there's like this block in the middle of the ocean, and you could move the ship around this block, and that was it. That was the game. Like what good is that going to do me? See, the first model in Kodak's vest pocket camera range was introduced in April of 1912 and sold for $6. Wow. Which then adjusted for inflation equates to $180 today. So he must have, again assuming that's the correct camera, he must have got that thing. I mean, the second it hit the store, he had to be one of the first in line to get it. That's of course if he assuming he bought it, because I don't know for sure. Again, I have to do more research, but and I say that because I know for a fact that his Titanic ticket was a gift to him. It was not something he purchased. So I don't know if the camera was also part of the gift or if he bought the camera himself. I have to look into it. Oh, there's me in the background. I'm the big battleship behind him here. Yeah, maybe after he found out, yep, there's me in my big battleship. I think I'm playing the North Carolina right here, or a North Carolina class, not the actual USS North Carolina. Yeah, that looks like a North Carolina to me. So yeah, that's what I'm playing. Yeah, I can't wait to read up more on him because I mean, talk about a what a story. You know, you've got some of the only photos ever taken of on board the Titanic. I mean, wow, how rare is that? All right, so we got about 5 minutes before we reach our 1 hour mark. I think I'm gonna probably go ahead and call it right here. Um, I think we had a pretty good discussion. It wasn't exactly what I planned from the get go, but hey, I think it turned out pretty well. Um, so yeah, as far as content goes, we have different types of content 5 days a week on the channel. Each day or in all times are Central Standard Time. We have a quiz of the day each day at 9 o'clock, Monday through Friday. We have a random poll of the day, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock, and a short of the day every day at 11 o'clock. Streams are Friday evenings for 1 hour at 7 p.m., and we have one full length video that comes out each week at 7 a.m. on Friday. So did Father Brown survive the sinking, or did they find his camera? I'm not going to reveal that just yet. I'm going to wait until I do that video. So anyway, that's the content. That's the content schedule each week. Matt, thanks for coming and hang out again. Always appreciate it, and thanks again for giving us the footage here that we've got of the kid that we were able to watch. Thanks anyone and everyone who supports the channel as always. Appreciate all the support. Once again, shout out to my good friend Viola for the super thanks on the video. I truly appreciate it. And again, go check out her channel, Viola's Baked Goods and Delights on YouTube. And she recently got over 1,000 subscribers. She finally hit that threshold. We're still working to get there. We got a little ways to go, but we're working on it. So thanks again for watching, everyone. We'll be back again next Friday at the same time. And I hope you have a great weekend. And until the next time, as you know, drive safely.